next news. Breaking news from the White House.
Some breaking news out of the Oval Office. President Donald Trump just sent a message that every globalist, every weak-kneed cable pundit, and every regime apologist needs to hear loud and clear. America's not running out of time. Iran is. Trump revealed the U.S. has already smashed roughly 78% of the targets it set out to hit, gutted Iran's military production, and now holds the cards on what happens next. He says a deal could be made right now, but here's a catch, and it changes everything. The question tonight is simple. Will Iran surrender to reality or force President Trump to finish the job? See, this matters to every American family because President Trump is showing what real strength looks like after years of weakness from the previous administration that invited chaos all over the world. When the commander-in-chief projects confidence, enemies hesitate, markets stabilize, and our troops operate from a position of overwhelming advantage instead of political confusion. And Trump made it plain. He's not bargaining from desperation. He's not accepting some flimsy temporary paper deal that lets Tehran regroup and threaten the world again in 6 months. That means safer shipping lanes, lower risk to global energy flows, and a clearer warning to every hostile regime watching from Moscow to Beijing. Under President Trump, the United States doesn't beg, it dictates terms politically. This is also a total humiliation for the media class that spent weeks pretending Trump was boxed in. He just blew that lie to pieces from the White House podium, and reminded the country that peace through strength is not a slogan, it's a policy, and it works. And speaking of strength recovery and getting your life back when the pressure is on, let me take 30 seconds for something personal. And it's a very personal story because for years my wife battled chronic pain and anxiety from her diagnosis, endless doctor visits, treatments that didn't help. Watching her struggle daily, it broke my heart. And then Jonathan Otto introduced red light therapy. Her pain vanished, anxiety lifted, she's sleeping soundly, full of energy and life again. My recovery and vitality better than guys half my age. Truly life-changing for us. Now, red light therapy is backed by NASA research, FDA cleared, and studies show rapid pain relief, better sleep, and real recovery support. If you want to feel stronger, sharper, and more energized, go to myredlight.com. Use NNN25 for 25% off individual items or NNN30 for 30% off bundles. Take care of your body now. Now let's get back to the Oval Office because what Trump said next demolished the fake media narrative. Reporters tried to use the usual gotcha routine, pushing Trump on whether his timeline had slipped. His answer was classic Trump. There's no pressure on America, and he even said he took a break while Iran kept getting weaker. Then he dropped the real bombshell. He said he can make a deal right now, but he refuses to settle for a weak temporary arrangement. He wants something everlasting, something that permanently blocks Iran from ever rebuilding the threat. That's the difference between a statesman and a caretaker. This just in from the Oval Office. Trump says he could make a deal right now, but he wants it to be everlasting, not temporary.
That the U.S. now has been involved with Iran. You had initially said it would be 4 to 6 weeks.
Well, I hope that, but I also took a little break. I gave them a break. And remember this, I want to make the best deal. I could make a deal right now. Do you know that if I left right now, we had a tremendous success. It would take them 20 years to rebuild, but I don't want to do that. I want to have it everlasting. I want to have it where they never have a chance to get it. I mean, the way you asked that question, yeah, I did say it. I thought it would take 4 to 6 weeks, and I was right, because at the end of 6 weeks, at the end of 4 weeks, their military was decimated.
So are you saying?
But now what I'm doing, I can't tell you that. I don't want to put that kind of a timetable on it, but it'll go pretty quickly, and we'll have the Strait opened up. Now, right now, we have it closed. We have total control of the Strait, and the fact that it's closed, you know, they would have opened it up 3 days ago. They came to us, and they said, we will agree to open the Strait. And all my people were happy. Everybody was happy except me. I said, wait a minute, if we open the Strait, that means they're going to make $500 million a day. I don't want them to make $500 million a day until they settle this thing.
Until they settle this thing. Making the pressure point clear, no cash flow to Tehran until there's a real lasting deal. Rapid Response 47 posting this. Jim Acosta's girlfriend, Elise Landers, when she's asked one of the dumbest questions ever if he'd use a nuclear weapon on Iran. Here's President Trump's response.
You use a nuclear weapon against Iran. You posted on
No.
Truth Social
No,
a few weeks ago.
we don't need
That's
it.
not
Why do
what
I
it's
need
about.
it? Why would a stupid question like that be asked?
You posted
Why would
on
I
social
use a nuclear weapon when we've totally, in a very conventional way, decimated them without it? No, I wouldn't use it. A nuclear weapon should never be allowed to be used by anybody.
Such a stupid question from Jim Acosta's girlfriend. And here, President Trump talking about Iran is the one under the time constraint, not America.
Vietnam. How many years was Vietnam?
I understand, sir, but
How
you
many
are
years
past
was
your
Vietnam?
6-week deadline, so
Well,
I'm
I
just
did my
wondering-
end.
I'm just wondering what you say to the American people.
I
who are
took
wondering about
the
land
country out
rights.
militarily in the first 4 weeks. I took it out militarily. Now all we're doing is sitting back and seeing what deal. And if they don't want to make a deal, then I'll finish it up militarily with the other 25% of the targets. We've hit 78% of the targets that we've wanted to hit. We've knocked out their manufacturing. We've knocked out their missile production. We've knocked out their drone production. We've knocked out everything. In some cases, when I say knocked it out, 70, 80, 90%. It's amazing what we've done. So I've done that within that period of time that I mentioned, but I don't want to rush myself, because every story says, oh, Trump is under time pressure. I'm not, no. You know who's under time pressure? They are. Because if they don't get their oil moving, their whole oil infrastructure is going to explode. You know what that means? Because they have no place to store it. And because they have no place to store it, if they have to stop it, something happens that only Len can explain. Something happens underground that essentially renders it in very poor shape, and you never recover fully. You can recover 50, 60%, but you can never have it like it is right now. And they have a matter of days before that event takes place. So I'm not under any pressure whatsoever. We've never had so much ammunition. Our ships are loaded. I call them locked and loaded. They're locked and loaded. They're ready to go. We have much higher quality equipment than we did when we first started the war, and or the military operation, whatever you want to call it. And they're coming to us. The problem they have is they are very disorganized right now. Well, now yesterday, and I was very pleased with this, 8 young women were going to be executed yesterday afternoon at 6 o'clock. And I asked them, call it a favor or call it just a moral request that they not be executed. And they came back with an answer that they won't be executed. They're going to release, it was protesting. 8 beautiful young women, very young women. And the pictures in the paper. And it's been a story for a little while. And I saw that and I said, let's see if we can save them. And it was very nice what happened. So they're not going to be, what they're doing is, as you know, they're releasing 4 of them very shortly, and they're going to keep 4 of them in jail for a period of 1 month and release them. So they won't be executed yet.
President Trump laying it out. Message simple. Make a deal or face the other 25% of the target list. Trump reminds everyone why this fight is personal. Listen to this.
When you see a soldier, a young person, or now an older person, but a person without legs or without arms or with a face that got blown to pieces, most likely it was from Iran. It was Soleimani, who I killed. Soleimani loved the roadside bomb. He was an evil genius. He was a brilliant general. Probably we wouldn't be as far advanced had I not taken him out. That was the beginning of it all.
Trump tying Iran's regime directly to the mutilation and murder of U.S. service member. Now he turns to Iran's chaos at the top, saying old leadership is gone and nobody even knows who's in charge.
So I can only tell you this: it'll end. I don't think it'll be very long, by the way. They're delaying it because we don't know who to deal with. They are in, they know who the leader is in this country. We don't know who the leader is in Iran. Because remember, regime change. Khomeini is gone. He's gone to greener pastures. He's gone, and all of his team is gone. Then a second group came in. They're all gone. And now you have the third group. And they're a little concerned about being gone, too.
Oh, my God. They're a little concerned. If they don't get their oil moving, their whole infrastructure is going to explode. That's what's on the table. And here is, going back to that moment, a reporter tries to catch him.
No pressure. It's only guys like you with a question like that about what's your time. We've been doing it for 5.5 weeks.
But sir, is your administration been 8 weeks that the U.S. now has been involved with Iran? You had initially said it would be 4 to 6
Well,
weeks.
I hope that, but I also took a little break. I gave them a break and
took a little break. Gave him a break. President Trump saying we hit 78% of the targets.
I took it out militarily. Now what we're doing is sitting back and seeing what deal. And if they don't want to make a deal, then I'll finish it up militarily with the other 25% of the targets. We've hit 78% of the targets that we've wanted to hit. We've knocked out their manufacturing. We've knocked out their missile production. We've knocked out their drone production. We've knocked out everything. In some cases, when I say knocked it out, 70, 80, 90%. It's amazing what we've done.
Amazing indeed. So here's the part that the establishment doesn't want you to focus on. Trump says that the U.S. has total control of the strait, has already crippled Iran's manufacturing, missile production, and drone production, and put Tehran under a brutal economic clock. If their oil stops moving, their own infrastructure starts to break down. In other words, Trump has created a trap entirely on America's terms. Add that to his blunt assessment that Iran's top leadership has been disrupted so badly that even figuring out who's in charge is now a challenge. And the picture becomes obvious. This is not America scrambling for an exit. This is a President Trump, forcing a hostile regime to choose between surrender at the table or collapse under pressure. So President Trump just showed the world what America First command looks like. Ruthless when necessary, measured when possible, and always focused on protecting American lives. He reminded everyone that Iran has maimed and murdered U.S. troops for years, and he connected that history directly to taking out Soleimani, one of the most justified strikes in modern history. He also shut down the hysterical nonsense about nuclear weapons, saying clearly that such weapons should never be used. That's strength with control, and that is leadership. So here's my question for you. Do you support President Trump demanding a permanent deal from Iran instead of another weak temporary surrender by Washington insiders? Yes or no? Drop your answer in the comments, share this report everywhere, and subscribe if you're done letting the corporate media bury the truth. And text raw feed that to the number on the screen, 844-840-4963, to bypass the algorithm suppression of our channel and get a notification that YouTube never sends. A direct message from me to your phone. And check out the next news merch shelf below this video. America's back, and President Trump is proving it.
The system controls information. Information control is power. They don't want you to see this. The truth only survives together. They don't want this shared. Share this now.